This video is brought to you by AKS IAS.
Good evening, Mr. Mangu Sriram. So, presently you're pursuing PhD from NIT Warangal.
Yes, sir.
What is the topic?
So it is on transit-oriented development.
Transit-oriented development. Can you elaborate?
Yes, sir. It basically focuses on how to develop an urban area along transit corridors so that we can increase the transit patronage against the personal vehicle usage. And also we can increase walking, cycling, and also thereby we can address issues like air pollution, traffic congestion, and associated health parameters can be improved. To elaborate it further, so in transit-oriented development, what we do is we take metro stations as nodes and we draw buffer circles around it. For example, 500-meter circles will be drawn. So these are nothing but TOD buffer areas. So in those buffer areas, we give certain inputs like we increase density, diversity, design, destination accessibility, etc. There are many parameters that we can introduce so that we can get these objectives, like increasing transit patronage and all the things I mentioned.
In high-tech city, recently I read some news that some cycling tracks
Yes.
that is developed near the metro stations for 5 to 6 kilometers, almost 10 to 15 kilometers, entire high-tech city will be covered with these cycling tracks.
Yes.
Is it part of this?
Yes, sir. It comes under the design criteria. This non-motorized transport infrastructure has to be improved, sir, within this TOD that comes under. Yes, sir.
Sometimes I get some crazy ideas. If you visit some airports like Singapore or some, at least that escalator or that, what do you call, I don't know exactly, on which you just stand and it will take you.
Yes,
It is almost 1 kilometer escalator. Can't we have such escalators as mode of transport in cities?
sir, I think they should be confined to areas like airports rather than the general areas because firstly we have to improve health parameters. That's also part of transit-oriented development. Sir. Through active cycling, active walking, we also aim to improve the activity and active life, thereby health parameters of people. So we need to promote in that area, sir.
No, my this idea was, see, instead of buses which use these fossil fuels or something else, so at least this track, entire footpath will be like the escalator track. It goes on. Whenever you want to, it moves slowly, no? You can just enter into that or you can get out of it.
It's almost the idea is similar to tram system, sir. It moves very slowly. People can, whenever they want, it will not stop. Whenever they want, people can enter it. People can exit it. That comes near to, I mean, your idea is near to tram system.
Is it the same tram system which is in Kolkata older days?
Yes, sir.
But why it is not? Why it's a failure?
So tram system has certain disadvantages, like it moves very slowly, sir. So it can be adopted only in peripheral areas. In areas, in the high dense areas, it is not very feasible. Sir. We need very fast moving systems like metro systems, which can carry a lot of people, masses, from one place to another place in very small amounts of time. So that becomes crucial.
So interesting field actually, transportation engineering. You are a native of Tirupati.
Yes,
Can you tell something about the history of Tirupati?
Yes, sir. So Tirupati is known for its spiritual background. So it is abode of Lord Venkateshwara for the seven hills. So that had been properly consecrated by Sri Ramanujacharya, whose statue had been recently inaugurated in Hyderabad by Prime Minister. So after that, the temple had been following particular agamas, and it got lot of popularity, wide popularity, becoming a very center of tourist attraction, pilgrimage attraction across the country and even internationally. So that's one thing, the historical aspect, the spirituality. While coming to the political angle, in history, the area of Tirupati had been under the rule of Vijayanagara. Very close to Tirupati is Chandragiri, one of the political centers where even Sri Krishnadevara had his childhood. So for later Vijayanagara rulers also, Chandragiri had been one of their important political centers. So these two aspects can be told from the history.
Anything to talk about Tondaman Chakravarti?
So it's related to Lord Venkateshwara. Exact story I should explore more.
Can you tell something about Annamaya?
Yes, sir. So Annamaya is a Vaishnavite Bhakti saint who took his path to Tirupati, settled there over the seven hills, and he gave out Sankirtanas, several tens of thousands of Sankirtanas, which had not just improved the Bhakti cult within the Hinduism, but also enriched the Telugu literature also. So the Vaishnavite movement had seen a lot of expansion because of the contributions of Annamaya. One more thing to be told about Annamaya is the social equity angle. Through his literature, like everyone is saying Brahma Mokate. So through that he also pursued social engineering, that is social equity. He had ensured that his wives got education, so female education he had popularized. So these things.
Except this single song about Brahma Mokate, Parabrahma Mokate, do you have many more things he is talking about? He is talking about equality and all those things.
Actually, there is one more song somewhere. I don't remember.
So, why I asked Annamaya is, in his one of the Kirtanas, Annamaya in one of his padams, he speaks about Tondaman Chakravarti, who was the patron of the seven hills. That is why I asked. Do you know anything about Vakula Mata?
Yes, sir.
What exactly is Vakula Mata? Can you tell something about Vakula Mata?
Yes, Vakula Mata is the foster mother of Lord Venkateshwara. When it is believed that when Lord Venkateshwara had reached earth, she had nurtured Lord Venkateshwara. And in fact, there is an idol near the main Sanctum Sanctorum devoted to Vakula Mata, where she would be seeing the kitchen. It is believed that she personally supervises the food that is prepared for Lord. And another thing is Vakula Mata's temple had been revived recently near Tirupati.
Do you know that recently an inscription is also found at Vakula Mata temple? Recent, 1 week, 10 days back. It is in the news. So basically, coming back to engineering and other aspects, can you tell something about Andhra Pradesh political problems today? What exactly are the problems Andhra Pradesh is facing today?
In terms of politics, sir, currently we are unable, because of numbers, we are unable to influence the central policies. For example, if we want to get special category status, though we have numbers, required numbers, but those numbers are not sufficient to actually pursue special category status and the special package. So that one thing can be considered as political problem. And some incidents, though they are not rampant, some incidents of political vengeance seeking, these are also being observed in news.
Do you think it's because of the numbers you are not able to influence center, or if we have numbers also, can we get special status?
Actually, numbers are not enough, sir, in terms of politics, because in center the government has a comfortable majority. And moreover, special category status had been eschewed by Finance Commission. Finance Commission is mentioning that we are no more giving special category status. So these two are the reasons.
What about the problem with the capital?
So capital, firstly in 2014 we had announced Amravati as the main epicenter capital, and then after 5 years when the government had changed, the government had come up with a novel idea, that's decentralized three capital system. But though the intention of it is good, the decentralized development, the timing probably is not. It should have been done in 2014 probably. So that's the reason why the Honorable Judiciary is also mentioning that Amravati had to be pursued because land acquisition had already been conducted. So currently, government is focusing on developing Amravati. In fact, recently the government submitted to the High Court that it would require 5 years to develop Amravati in a proper manner.
Have you heard about the contempt of court cases against the AS officers in Andhra Pradesh?
Yes.
Can you elaborate on that?
Yes, sir. Recently, 8 IAS officers had been sentenced to life imprisonment for not following judicial.
Life imprisonment?
Not life imprisonment, but normal imprisonment. I'm sorry.
So life is a big thing again.
So another 3 officers had been subjected to again imprisonment. So one thing, two reasons can be sorted for this. Firstly is the inability to properly implement what had been given by the judiciary, and second thing is judicial activism also plays a key role where judiciary is overstepping into the executive affairs, the policy matters. So and it becomes problem between judiciary and government often. So these two reasons are we can give for the problem.
Some analytical articles are saying that IAS officers or bureaucrats are becoming the scapegoats between the tussle between the polity and judiciary. Do you agree with this?
As IAS officers, they are meant to serve. They have two purposes. One thing, they have to serve people, and at the same time they have to follow the orders of government, because end of the day government is democratically elected by the people. They are the representatives of people. So I think IAS officers are right in thinking that they have to follow the orders of government. So unfortunately, because of the problems in implementation and the judicial activism, they are indeed coming in the tussle.
Why you call it as judicial activism? It's a routine thing. Contempt of court is there. So court took it as into cognizance and it gave the award. It awarded the punishment. If you say judicial activism, it is something extra which sometimes in some other cases we have talked about judicial activism. It is a simple case of overlooking court orders.
Yes.
This is my statement. Do you agree with this? Can you use judicial activism for these cases?
No, sir, not for all cases. For all cases, we cannot use it, sir. Only if judiciary is interfering in day-to-day executive affairs and policy matters, then only we can call it as judicial activism. Otherwise, if judiciary is monitoring, supervising the orders to uphold the constitution, law and order, then that will not come under judicial activism. It's routine.
So can you tell me the difference between judicial activism and judicial overreach?
I'm not very clear about it, but judicial overreach is a more aggravated version of judicial activism, where judiciary will set more stringent standards, will enter more often into the policy matters. So that is more aggravated form of judicial activism.
Do you think that the judiciary in India is independent? What's your opinion on it?
So, judiciary, especially the higher judiciary, is often highly independent, but there are also certain problems to address. Especially in judicial appointments, there have been issues like the memorandum of procedure is still hanging. And,
In JSC?
Yes, sir, in JSC. NJSC also had been abrogated by the judiciary.
Now they're working on the MOP, but it is
Yes.
not yet.
Yes, sir. So appointment mechanism had been a little bit problematic between government and judiciary. Once it is sorted out, probably if at all judicial appointments become more transparent rather than the currently opaque collegium system, then there is ample scope for judiciary to become even more independent.
Why do you think your present government, Andhra Pradesh, is always embroiled in judicial controversies, or in every initiative that they take, it is challenged in the court of law? What would be the reasons for this? Is there any particular problem with the policy making itself, or is it some other reason? Recently, you've seen, right, in the past 3 years, several times the government of AP is dragged to the court.
Probably the radical measures, sometimes it get communicated like that. Sir. For example, the three capital issue, if we take it as an example, there is a radical departure from the past, which suddenly took place in 2019 after the elections. So probably because of that certain radicalism, certain miscommunication might have happened, which is leading to judicial tussle.
Miscommunication will lead to judicial tussle. Miscommunication between whom? We'll leave it there. So you are pursuing PhD in NIT, right? So why do you want to shift your focus from academics to civil services?
Civil services had always been my primary goal. Sir. That is the reason why I had been preparing for the civil services right from 2014 when I was previously in NIT. The prime reason is, as civil servant, I can make direct impact to the society. I have a lot of respect for academic field also, because it does have impact on society, which is more indirect in nature. Because of the direct implication nature, I have a lot of passion for the civil services.
But don't you think because of this, once you get into civil services, you have made some other person who is inclined towards academics lose his seat, or lose that opportunity?
Sir, I rather see it in a different light, sir. Whatever I'm learning as part of my research in NIT Warangal, that is, for example, the transit-oriented development itself, this will find much better applications in this much bigger platform called civil service. Because as we are seeing, the current government is focusing on developing 3 cities simultaneously, Amaravati, Visakhapatnam and Kurnool. So which means it will see a rapid urban expansion going forward. So we have to make sure that this expansion will not take place haphazardly. There will be no urban sprawl, traffic congestion, etc.
You mentioned this term called urban sprawl. Could you elaborate?
So, especially in the context of India, we are seeing massive urbanization. We are seeing a lot of people from rural areas migrating to urban areas in search of work. So what is happening is we are unable to accommodate them in a proper planned manner. So they are finding themselves without any proper support. So they are most people who are migrating, they are ending up in slums. This is also called slumification. So once this happens, the urban area expands haphazardly. The municipal administration will not be able to address their needs. So this is called urban sprawl. So this has many negative consequences which can be addressed through the topic like transit-oriented development.
So this problem has been there in India in all the cities, almost all the cities, right? Do you think your state of Andhra Pradesh is taking sufficient measures to see that that problem doesn't arise?
Actually, we are at this juncture where there is massive urbanization, and at the same time we are planning for metro systems. Visakhapatnam, there is a plan for metro system which is about to get operationalized, and even in Vijayawada, Guntur, Amaravati area also there is planned metro system. So this is the right time, sir, actually, to implement this concepts like TOD so that urban sprawl will not take place.
Concept like?
Transit-oriented development.
You're focusing only on transit. What I'm asking is, when you're talking about the problem of urban sprawl, you're focusing only on the transport aspect. There are other aspects to it, right?
Yes.
Haphazard urbanization is going to lead to other menaces as well.
Yes.
What could be those menaces?
So, because more and more.
Okay, let us stop it over there. define what is urbanization. What does urbanization mean to you? Urbanization per se, the term.
So it is expansion of urban area. There are multiple perspectives for it. So one perspective is the expansion, physical expansion of urban area, or the rural area itself get urbanized through its own popular growth or because of its attraction due to multiple reasons. And the lifestyle changes can also come under urbanization. The economic perspective, wherein agricultural dependence will get diversified into industrial.
Got it. So,
Your parents are into medicine.
Yes.
Mother is into veterinary science, father is a doctor. And you are into non-biological stream. Even your brother, it seems.
Yes.
How come it happened? Sometimes we see all doctors' family have doctors.
Especially myself and my brother are more inclined towards mathematics more than biology. Since childhood, we had more aptitude in that area. That's why we chose that stream.
Your father is CEO of All India Institute of Medical Sciences, Madurai. And mother is AD in veterinary. You are interested in yoga.
Yes.
Can you tell something about yoga? When it started? What exactly is yoga? And is it a health system or what? What exactly is yoga for you?
So yoga had been there. The myth says that it had been there since Shiva had entered this earth. Adi Yogi had entered. He is the first yogi. The myth says that it had been properly formulated into sutras by Patanjali in Yoga Sutra, and currently it is seeing rapid global expansion. While coming to the topic whether whether it helps for health system, it definitely does help the health system. So there is increasing growing body of literature which shows that by practicing certain practices of yoga, the blood pressure, the ailments like diabetes, cardiovascular diseases will come down. There is growing body of literature which is showing that. And at the same time, the physical fitness levels will also improve. The body will be more flexible, more agile, and thereby the quality of life itself improves in the long run.
Which year or which period Patanjali has codified?
So I'm not very sure, but I'm thinking it is Gupta period. Gupta period.
Pre-Gupta. Just pre-Gupta, we have that. But Patanjali, before Patanjali itself, there is yoga.
Yes.
Where? Can you exemplify where you find yoga, such sort of things in history?
So near Nepal, Tibet region, we can see even in Indus manuscripts, Indus scripts, there is Pashupati sitting in yogic posture. So it dates back, even in recorded history, it dates back to.
What do you mean by yogic posture?
Sir, it's a kind of Padmasana.
I am sitting like this. I will be sitting. So, for example, there is some pedestal or something. I will be sitting in Padmasana posture. Do you think I am practicing yoga? Padmasana is a pose, that's it.
Posture, yes.
It's not a conscious thing for me.
Yes.
Then can you say I am practicing yoga?
So actually, that physical aspect is only one aspect of yoga. So there is also different aspects like mental aspect, emotional aspect, and the aspect.
It's true, but where is the evidence? Indus, can you show the mental aspect? No.
Yes, showing evidence is a bit difficult as we go to non.
But we have evidences, I'll tell you. Buddha. Is there anything like yoga or any such sort of thing in Buddhist practice?
I'm not really sure.
Have you heard about Vipassana?
No, sir.
Vipassana is the Buddhist meditation, which is part of the yoga. Forget about Buddha. Buddha was interacting with one another person known as Alara Kalaba. He was the teacher of Buddha in yoga, or yogic practices, meditation, such things. So much before Patanjali, we have the evidence of such things in literature too. But proper yoga is codified by Patanjali. That is why we call it as Patanjali Yoga Shastra, one of the 6 systems of Indian philosophy. Okay. You should have told one thing, that yoga is a psychosomatic balance. That's enough. You will explain that explains the entire all the qualities of yoga, characters of yoga. That is psychosomatic balance. Then again, gym, yoga and gym, both are supplementary or contradictory.
Supplementary, sir.
So in gym, it's completely a modern practice,
Yes.
modern type of exercises. So why you need, if yoga is completely a system, a holistic system which gives psychosomatic experience, why again gym?
So, while yoga helps in much deeper aspects like holding emotional balance, having good concentration levels, looking things at right perspective, gym mostly helps in keeping oneself fit, sir. So, since childhood, I am interested in keeping.
No, even in yoga, you said medical, physical fitness will be there, body will be agile.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's why both are actually complementary, supplementary, sir.
Have you heard about Gudimallam?
I remember hearing it, sir.
Very nearby place to you,
Yes, sir.
your town.
Yes.
Have you heard about Gudimallam temple?
Temple. Yes, sir. It's famous for temple.
Why, what exactly is the specific character of Gudimallam temple? Can you tell?
Sorry, sir. Like,
You have a linga, which is not as you think in all the other regular temples. Gudimallam linga is just a phallus. On the phallus, you have the tribal. On another man with holding a spear. It is the first form of linga worship. That is near Gudimallam, in Gudimallam, near your town.
okay, sir.
Anyway, why actually this question was asked, why you want to become an administrator? But I am asking you, what exactly we have to address in Andhra Pradesh? Which field we have to address? If you become an administrator, which field you feel that this is a priority sector where we have to intervene or address this issue?
So, we have to rapidly expand the industrial sector. So, currently, that dependence on agriculture is higher, and at the same time, we need to ensure social mobility. So, there is a lot of caste inequity, gender inequity. We have to focus on those areas of social equity also.
Interesting thing. How to reduce these problems or how to make this social mobility?
So, for social mobility, one thing is we need to ensure percolation of education. Currently, there are incidents of dropouts among socially vulnerable sections. We need to make our curriculum more and more interesting in the spirit of the new education policy. So, thereby reducing the dropouts, increasing the educational outcomes, and we need to also vocationalize education. We need to ensure industrialization, though in less polluting manner, we have to ensure industrialization of our state. So it will it will provide good avenues for people, especially in rural areas, in the vulnerable sections, to get themselves employed in industries and get formal wages and ensure education for their children. So this will help in both intragenerational as well as intergenerational social mobility. So, and ensuring female education, making female education priority is also quite important.
Means in essence you say that education is the one which will bring social mobility.
Yes, sir. Groups.
Do you?
Can you differentiate between equality and equity? The term equality versus equity.
So equality is like it's a very statistical term, sir. It indicates exact equality. It indicates objectivity. Whereas equity is more into our society. There are certain aspects of differences. We can't put it in objective terms. Like for example, the caste system, the gender system. There are certain social systems we can't put it in objective terms. So there we try to explain that in terms of equity. We focus on addressing that equity level.
Can you illustrate equality versus equity? Can you give us an example and explain it? We did not understand those technical terms.
So probably if we see income levels, for example, if two people have similar income levels, we can say that they have almost equality in their economic status or income status. But there might be certain parameters that are more subjective in nature. Probably their castes might be different, religions might be different, genders might be different. So those aspects which we can't put it in objective terms, we use equity as a term for it.
Quantifiable.
Yes.
Right. So,
So, industrialization you said. Recently, in international affairs, there is a big controversy going on in Sri Lanka related to Adani. Have you read about it? Any controversy related to Adani in Sri Lanka?
Yes, sir. One project of Adani is being protested in Sri Lanka.
One project or agreement?
It's an agreement.
No. Can you elaborate if you have read?
Sorry, sir, I don't have proper knowledge.
Very, very recent one. Do you read newspapers regularly?
Yes.
Or best you are in current affairs?
So I read one daily newspaper.
Which one?
The English.
Do you know Pulitzer Award? Pulitzer Award.
Yes, sir. It's often advertised in the Hindu newspapers.
Pulitzer Award is given to for the people who are involved in which field?
So can I guess it, sir?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not sure. Journalism, sir.
Yes. This year, any Indian got Pulitzer Award? Latest. Two Indians. Two photographers. One died in the field covering the Afghan crisis, Afghanistan, Taliban change of power period. Yesterday, they have announced the Booker Prize too. Have you heard about this? Latest Booker Prize, Hindi translated into English. So both the translated version and the translation got the award. So since you haven't seen the news, I can't ask you any question. So, do you know Booker Prize?
I'm not very sure on it, sir.
Can you guess? Man Booker Prize, given in which field?
No, sir, I don't have much knowledge.
Literature.
Okay, sir.
Anyway, last question. If you have been allocated in Andhra Pradesh, which is your place of interest to work and sector of interest, and justify your answer?
So I would like to work in those areas of Rayalaseema where there is currently water crisis, because water addresses many problems. First, water is required as part of input. Water is required for agriculture, which again can be grown as food, which is again an input. So in many aspects of life, water is very important. For example, Anantapur and surrounding areas, water scarce areas. And I have some ideas to improve water, like utilizing watershed management, 4 waters concept, and installing rainwater harvesting structures, pursuing certain agricultural practices like crop diversification, and further expanding the micro irrigation structures. So these things will address the water crisis and can make a water deficit area even into a water surplus area, if not water adequate area. So my primary interest and my primary focus in those areas will be that.
Let's stop this interaction conversation.